Oh. Um. Are we live? I can't see if we are or not. Are we? Apparently this is. Have we been live for like 4 minutes? Crazy. Oh, we are live. Oh, crazy. Okay. Oh, wild. Okay. I didn't actually realize we were live. I didn't realize it auto started. Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. That's all right. Okay. Well, this microphone is also very, very high. Let me just get that into the shot the way I want it. Probably just people wondering what the fuck's going on, right? Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. No idea. I really need to sort of remove that setting to restart it. Start it immediately next time. You guys can probably see that, can't you? Okay, let's just put it there. Are we good? I think we're good. Sup, Shredders? My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SB Livestreams number 7 of the $6 fan requests, where for just $6 we can listen through a track of your choosing. And if we switch over to here, we have our incredibly complicated looking screen right now. This is not working for me. This mic position. Hang on. Is that big? Is that bigger? Yeah. And in the center. There we go. Cool. I think that's a bit better. I just had the mic in front of me. So just before we get into it, the layout is a little bit different than last time, primarily because of the fact that in the room I'm in, it can't use green screen. So it's what it is, but it's okay. Hello, by the way, Jacob. Hopefully you're good. Hopefully you're doing well. I've just realized as well, I don't have my text box stuff. So this is just it's a learning curve. There we go. So we're good now. I think that's everything. I don't think we needed anything else. No, it doesn't surprise me, honestly, bud. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I appreciate you letting me know. I'm just going to go here. Open. Yay, it's open. The purpose of this live stream today is simply just to see if people are interested in it or not. If they're not, it's fine. If you are, that's cool. But it's also just to kind of hang out, I suppose. It's because it's been a while since we hung out. Just letting you know, I can't really see the captions from my screen at all. I used to have 2 monitors, and now I have the one. But that's okay. It's just that I'm fitting I have like a 3440 by 1440 monitor at the moment. And basically I've just got a lot of my excess stuff that I'd have on the second monitor on this side of the screen around this side. So we're learning how it works. Jacob, yeah, the Ko-fi link should be working now though, if you're interested. Either way, we're just gonna just check the queue here. Yeah. Yeah, it's been since January, so we actually haven't done one in a month, really. What I'm not super excited about is that with this Ko-fi link, it's really small and it doesn't actually move across. Hang on, if I do that and then move over, nah, hang on, we'll get this. That's a bit better. And you guys can't see that. I can see everything on the screen. We had someone put in a request outside of the live streams. Now, just a friendly reminder, this is going to be Ken Cheung's one. A friendly reminder that when we do these live streams, that's when the Ko-fi link is live. So I can't take requests outside of that. You would want to go through the Fiverr or the Patreon for that kind of stuff. But if you're looking to get a live stream request done, it's just only when there are live streams. And so those live streams will be visible on the channel at the time. So it should be all good. But hopefully that all makes sense. We're going to listen through what Ken has asked us to check out today. So that's fine. It'll be good to listen through that. Ko-fi supporter. Thanks as well to Jacob for your request. I appreciate that. We'll put you on the list as well. So at the moment we've got 2 on the list. Yeah, I'm just not really sure how to sort of like, until we find a new house, how to sort of structure this. It's just a bit squished. I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do. I'm actively trying to only do these when I am in a good mood, because I understand that it's not much fun to be around someone when they're in a kind of a crappy mood. So I'm not going to promise it'll be every week or next week, but we're doing it today. Anyways, okay, so we've got the big one here. Go here. This is Ken Cheung's one. Hello, Blue Dinner Box. Oh, wow. Why? What is this, though? Oh, crazy. What is this? Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. And hello, Blue Dinner Box. How's it going? Don't worry about it, Blue Dinner Box. I still intend to get the video done for you today. But yeah, this is from Ken Cheung. I'm just going to put here, thanks for your request. Let's listen through this. This is Burn It from Okono Times. I don't know where it went. It keeps disappearing. Let's get into this. So if I... Cool, it does work. Fantastic work with those guitars though, right? Just testing the pause function with this, because I pressed it before and it didn't pause. Great use of the tremolo bar there. Key change? I mean, it's just such a slick transition back to that vocal section, isn't it? Great tone to that bass as well. Right tongue to that bass as well. Great tone to that bass as well. Great tone to that right tongue. To be fair, they've already had their solo section, so it's okay that they don't want to continue that. Fantastic. So that was Burn It from Otoko Times. Otoko Times or Otoko Times. I'm pretty sure it's Otoko Times. I could be mispronouncing that. But either way, that was Ken Cheung's request, Burn It. I get the feeling from that track that the ferocity of the 80s kind of like power rock, kind of power metal kind of stuff, it lets you think that it is basically about sort of time running out, no time to spare, no time to waste, kicking it to the end, 110%, etc. It's got a sort of ferocity to it that goes alongside the catchiness of those vocal melodies and harmonies. It's just great to hear someone really sort of like sell it in a sort of a style of music where it's kind of like it's a similar kind of way of expressing ourselves, and it's not like it's super duper unique. But what I'm trying to say here is they're clearly passionate. They show solid vocal technique. And I think that they have a sense of like charisma and oomph that is on par with a lot of the different guitar, bass, and drum patterns within the track. Instrumentally, structurally, I think that it's really sort of like capable at, I'm not sure how long the song is, about 3.5 minutes. It works really well as a single. And I think that we had so much diversity and variety with the different guitar parts, all those different solo sections, the shred, the tremolo bar work, the power chord elements, etc. We had a lot of fun with the guitars, both in rhythm and in terms of the lead there. We had different sort of solos and little bits of sparkles for those. The bass guitar and the low end sort of very sort of like comfortable in its range, being very supportive of everything else. And then of course you have the drums with lots of different kick, snare, and bass drum patterns there, really sort of like highlighting the proficiency of the percussionist at that tempo and in that lane there, keeping up that pace in a way that's really satisfying. Thematically, I think it's a song about, again, like it's got a high pace and energy tempo to it. The instruments are intense with their tones. There's a lot of melody and color in it, but there's also a minor leaning there, which gives the impression that we've got a sense of urgency in that way. Again, now we are running out of time. And I think that just in terms of the actual production, it's emblematic of like a lot of the kind of like rock and metal from that point in time. It's very kind of groovy, lots of reverb there, but the vocals, guitar, bass, drums, etc. kind of remind me a little bit of Judas Priest, and I really dig that. And I just had a fantastic time with it. So I'm really glad that that you put it through. If you're watching this, thank you for sending this through. Just next time, we shall hopefully listen if you want to transfer another track through the live streams. Because yeah, if you come to the live streams, the Ko-fi link will be live, and we'll be good to go. Good to go. But thank you, Ken. That was Burn It from Otoko Times Music, and I had a great time with that. I thought that was a fantastic start to proceedings. Yeah. So I think, what are you guys up to today? Just for a look for the second track. What are you guys up to today? Have you been doing anything exciting or interesting? Have you been having fun? Because this next one's from Jacob Good. What does Jacob have for us? Jackie Chung, people who fall in love are all the same. Cool. Oh, check that out. People who fall in love are all the same. Cool. I think we can maybe even like make that like a little bit smaller. We'll go for 240. I'll forget that next time. Is that still visible? Yeah, that's fine. 240 is fine, I think. That's okay. We can kind of see what's going on there. I think it's roughly the size of a screen. I'm not sure. Anyways, that's okay. So we're going to check out this track from Jackie Chung next. And then if there's any other tracks, we'll look through those. Otherwise, we can just like chill and talk for a little bit. It's all good either way. It's very pretty with the little shimmers and star-like statues of it. It's kind of doo-wop, isn't it? So, is it literally just what it's translated about? Is there any more nuance to it aside from what's put in the story? In the title, should I say? I mean, he's clearly a talented singer. Hello, Elsie. Welcome to the live stream. It is good to hear some classics, for sure. I mean, the barbershop tone is just so slick. And the classy fade out at the end. Yeah, so that was cool. I appreciated that one. That was from Jacob Good. That was a recommendation for people who fall in love are all the same. So I'm going to assume, since I'm not familiar with the language, that that is what the track is about. In terms of the vocals, Jackie Chung with these kind of doo-wop, kind of barbershopish vocalizations there, the way they sing is great. Solid vocal technique, very comfortable and hinges voice. A lot of the similar content, like clearly they're this is a classic. It just sounds like a classic overall, but we sung the story in a way that is very caring, kind of reminds me a lot of music from like the early 50s and 60s and stuff like that, Western music. And I think that it was done the way which was respectful to the origins, whilst also being sort of like with Jackie making it their own. The it's just those harmonies and how they kind of escalate and go after each other, how they coalesce and interact with the rest of the arrangement there. I just think there's a lot to appreciate there as the main lead. I think a lot of what makes this track special outside of the vocals and the various iterations and interpretations of it is the actual individual functions of the various instruments that are involved. So, for example, if we go here, you got that kind of shuffle going on with the kit that kind of reminds you of doing a high school formal or a dance or something like that. That's kind of aesthetic there, which I think is kind of neat. Um, I think that just in addition to that, it's that bass line on the electric guitar, on the bass guitar, following along to the way the vocals move. Yeah, I agree. There was a bit of ham in there, but I think when you're going for this type of genre, it makes a lot of sense. Um, and you got this like interesting kind of vibrato or kind of rotary stuff going on in the background from the guitars. They're arpeggiating the chords really nicely. And you got those held notes there with the chorusy, kind of glitzy, kind of classy synth or key parts there, which almost remind me of Christmas music there. It's very magical. It's mesmerizing. And just allowing us to come down without the instrumental parts at all and to simply have the doo-wop, barbershop, different layers and harmonies there is just tremendous. It's just tremendous. It's very classy stuff on behalf of Jackie Chung and co, and I'm glad I had the chance to listen through it. And there were like other little elements there. It's just a lot of the power came from the way the vocals sort of soared and blitzed over everything else. There were different instrumental layers and different parts there. But it's overall, if you look at the theme of it, it's got this sense of warmth and glow to it with pretty sparkles and a slow dance kind of shuffle on the kit. And it really is trying to set the precedent. It's trying to set the environment for almost being young and in love for the first time. And it's almost this unifying, very sort of graceful thing that we're involved with here. So I think that the use of major chords, extending them was solid there. The movements for a lot of classics in terms of their progressions and the transitions was tight. And yeah, just in terms of the actual production itself, it was recorded and produced in a way which did remind me of a lot of the analog classics from earlier on there. That it wasn't a super clean, precise, shiny sort of studio track. It was a song where it sounded like everything was recorded in-house together, and you could almost imagine being in the room with them. And I think there's a sort of romanticism there that crosses all aspects of it and the way that is very impressive. So all of all, I think that this was a really solid track. I'm glad to have heard it, and thank you to Jacob for your request. I really appreciate it, man. That's cool. You guys have asked me to check out more Jackie Chung in the past, and I have liked what I've heard so far. Yeah, I think that's thank you so much for your it has been featured in today's live stream. I'm just letting Ken know that it was actually featured. There we go. So the queue is now, we're actually finished the queue. To be honest, we're done. Not bad for 20 minutes in, I'll be honest. It's very rare that we get through the queue in a sitting. Oh no, we've got one from Dinnerhay. Thank you to Dinnerhay for your request. Jacob says, I just loved how it was performed. 100% ham and it works fine. And it's also part of a few classic Hong Kong movies soundtrack too. That's good. I'm glad that I think that it would suit a movie quite well. Honestly, I think it would. I think that was a smart choice. By the way, if you're watching this and you're wondering when the next one of these is going to be, I would hope it will be next weekend. We'll see how it goes. But if you see me live, come in, have a chat. If you want a song reviewed, we can check it out. Either way, you know, it's chill. We're just having a chill time at the moment. This next track from Dinner Hay, though, is from Mantra, Ciao Jenny. So this is cool. Let's do it. How do I go back to that? Here we are. So this is on Spotify too. Thank you, Dinner Hay.
This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, you just touched down an LA. Pretty girls don't do drama unless we won. It'll be
that bass line is amazing, dude.
Never let it catch no stray. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun. I make you wanna swing both ways. Mix me with the drama, check you like commas. My close-up pajamas, straight from the cold plunge. Daytime better using my iron. Quick switch at a fit for the night. Swerving through the lane, we'll be 20 minutes late. Cause we have to do it in our drive-by. Not that deep, I'm not that drunk. Sometimes girls just
lovely. Lovely textures with those pads.
My sis, we're too attached. Not that deep, and not that dumb. Look at them bodies on the run. Inside glowing like the sun. You're gonna feel this every day. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, you just touched down an LA. Pretty girls don't do
interesting use of synth brass there.
It'll be depending on the day. Pretty girls picking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no stray. This that pretty girl mantra.
Is that the cowbell you're talking about there that's going through the sides of the headphones? Because if that's the cowbell you're talking about, that's dope. I love the sound of it. It kind of also is in a sorry. Yeah, so just I forgot to thank you. Thank you to both of you. Jacob Gooden didn't have your requests. I forgot to thank you in the chat. Okay. There's a lot to take in, but it's great to absorb. Okay, so that was Jenny with Mantra. This That Pretty Girl Mantra. What do I think this track's about? I think it's about it's basically about being attracted to pretty girls and the lifestyle we live with our clothes being pajamas. You know, like celebrating, I suppose, or how attractive we are and how we don't do drama unless we want it and how things are different and better for us and how nobody's going to dim our good life and in LA. And so it's an interesting song to write lyrics about. I'm not sure if everyone will be able to relate to it, but I feel like enough will that it'll be meaningful. And I think just generally there's this inherent sense of catchiness or the way that it's sung and spoken. And I love when we really do these wonderful, real focused sort of like sung parts there, as opposed to the almost like chanting and sort of rapping that we do in the verses. We contrast going into a hidden chest voice there. Just a lovely sort of switch up between those two. It's a 2 minute 16 track where we clearly have someone who can sing incredibly well, really proficient with their technique across the board, very comfortable on the mic. But it is also just the fact you've just got so much to appreciate in there. I think part of what makes the song work so well is not only the short form factor, which makes it easier to absorb and kind of get behind, but it's also just it's just the simplicity of that bass sound, but it's also just how thick and full it is and how it has a sense of rhythmic unison with what's going on with the vocal parts.
You're gonna feel this every day. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt.
And we've got the double tracking there for a bit more size there. And that's where a lot of the color comes from within the arrangement, the harmony there. I've just realized that's over that, isn't it? Hang on a minute. Let me just do something to kind of fix this. I've just realized how kind of scuffed that looks. Hang on. Let me just go here. Here we go. And if I go back to this, info description. Yeah, you can see the art. You can see the name of the track. You can see the name of the track here. You can see everything that's going on there, eh? Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm still figuring out how this all works, you know. And now that I'm not using a green screen at the moment and we're in a new room. Oh, where's that gonna go? Yay, thank you. I wish I had a place to put that. I don't. Thank you to whoever subscribed then, though I appreciate that. Maybe here? I don't know. You guys can't see the little box I'm moving around, can you? Probably there. I don't know, man. There's a little notification box that you guys probably saw then, but I just don't know where to put it. There's just so much stuff on the screen. Maybe here? Maybe on me. I'll put it on me so that it's there. Here we go. Cool. It's on me now. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's cool. So if that happens again, that'll be there. Awesome. Anyway, moving on. Where was I up to with this? I think that the use of dynamic range in the part before the drop is like, I think that's done a lot of time with this kind of music, but it's still very effective here in part just because of how clean it is. It just effortless goes into the next part. It's a very tight mix production wise, but it doesn't sort of like hang around too much on one idea or the other. It's glued enough that it's very smooth, even with the bounciness and side chaining some of those percussive elements. And there's these interesting sort of synth brassish parts there that permeate on the sides there that are a nice sort of glow and interesting tone there. They aren't complicated melodies or harmonies or ideas. The focus is on the vocals here. But what I appreciate is that they're still meaningful. You still listen to them go, oh, that was kind of cool. You know what I mean? And I do. I think this was the cowbell you were talking about there, Blue Dinner Box. Is that it's the one dun 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 dun. Like I think that's the one, and it's great because it moves from side to side. But that's not just a production thing with the panning and the automation of that. It's just also that the mild distortion on that has a great sense of swing and flow to it that mirrors a lot of what's going on with the bass and trades off with it. Thematically, I think it's trying to sound kind of cool and chic and all that kind of stuff like that. And I think that's a smart move. I mean, you want it to kind of have a flow and almost have like kind of a sassiness to it with the chord and note accents there on the kit, you know, bouncing around a little bit, you know. You want the bass and everything else to be unified, a really kind of like club classic. And you just want it to sound fun. That kind of like pretty girl lifestyle, that mantra there. You want to sound like they're having fun, but in a cool way. And I think that they do that with the chord choices there, the tones of the instruments, the vocal style, and the attitude presented. The production is commercial grade. Absolutely no complaints or qualms about that. Everything was nicely leveled, does dynamic range. You know, like panning automation stuff, like the cowbells from side to side was really dope. And yeah, dynamic range, nice and loud. Very, very good. Thank you to Dinahey for that request for Jenny, song titled Mantra. And it is a new level of catchy. I think that it is one of the catchier tracks I've heard so far. Do you guys like that song from Bruno Mars? That new song with Lady Gaga? I don't really listen to a lot of pop music, but I've heard that one recently, and I do like that track a lot. I think that that is a really beautiful song. I don't know if I'd be able to review it in a dedicated video, but I would like to check it out at some point because I just think it's a tremendous track that's really, really, it's really cool. It's just a lot of cool ideas there. It's just a lot of pluses, man. But yeah, we've got some more requests. We've got some from Elsie, Jacob Good, and Paul7931. Hello to Paul7931. Hopefully you are well. Maybe I don't want to commit to a specific time that I will do this, but I would assume that I will probably be reviewing that in my own time, maybe even this month, depending. My concern. Well, I mean, I'm going to have to review the Spotify version of it because I think that the video will get blocked. I can always just try, but I think that I will probably have to review the Spotify version of that song if I was going to do it myself, but I don't mind doing that. There are currently 3 tracks in the queue, so this next one is from LC. And what does LC have for us today? It is 1989 Rambling Rose. Thank you, LC. Now, do you want this? I assume we want this via Spotify. I cannot see if we've specified a specific one, but I suppose we can just go through here, and I'm going to do so. So let's listen to that Rambling Rose song from 1989. Ooh, that's pretty. The organ is gorgeous. It works well. I will just interrupt here just very briefly. I love every part of this. With that said, I'm not super convinced about the actual way that the guitar has been treated in this. It seems a little bit too high-endy for me, but that's a very minor thing. It's just me being transparent. Great chance to just have the organ have its moment. Is that a theremin? A theremin. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it did sound a little bit loud, eh? Interesting use of head voice there. And that's actually 5 minutes anyways. I got lost in that. That was Rambling Rose, a track from 1989. So thank you again to Elsie for the request. What do we think this song is about? I think Rambling Rose is maybe a talk about the rambling of love. They remember their lover. They want to stay by their side, you know, looking at the shooting stars, spending the night with each other. They're just celebrating, you know, how good it is to be with each other, that connection there. Elsie says, for context, the lead singer made this song, an album, while he was in Terrace House. What is Terrace House? I'm not sure what Terrace House is, but I'm sure you can help me out. But I think the story is presented spectacularly, incredibly well by the rest of the elements, including the vocal performance. Lots of R&B-ish kind of elements there, interesting sort of Moogish sense of theremins or whatever, and with lots of portamento on them. The guitar parts are tremendous. I did enjoy some of the solo sections as well, but the vocals, they were so fragrant, and there was a breathiness, and the harmonies were kind of really chirpy and cheery and easy to listen to. You know, like they're very sort of fragrant. The melodies interlace and amalgamate seamlessly with everything else that's within there in the layers. And it's just solid technique all around. And we genuinely sound like we're trying to be tender and intimate about it. And I think that it comes off really authentically. So I think also, just as a comment before I move into the actual instrumental parts there, I appreciate that we are putting some of it in Japanese and some of it in English, because for people like me, we just need the extra help. Thank you. We've tried. I've tried learning Japanese. It's just very difficult. Elsie says he asks one of the other housemates to be his girlfriend on the show, gets rejected hard, probably inspired the song. Apparently it's a Japanese reality show where a group of people live in a house but still carry on with their normal lives. Go to work but just come back home to the terrace house. So it's kind of like Big Brother, except they have lives outside of it. Is that it? I kind of dig that. I think it's a fascinating concept. I hope that he's feeling better. But yeah, so I think in addition to the way it was sung, thank you, by the way, for the context, Elsie, I appreciate it. In addition to the way it was sung, at 5 minutes 20, there is enough to keep you going overwards. Like, there are different instrumental sort of solo sections from the organs as well. That is a very kind of perky, pointy sort of key part there with the solo. I don't necessarily know if that tone works in both a mono and stereo format, but it sounds cool. It's just it's a very risque, specific sound for a lead there. Having personal experience with trying to get that into a mix, it can be very difficult. But I think it's just something where it's a decision they made creatively and they were happy, and maybe the sound of it, even if it was a bit pokey, maybe they were trying to infer that sense of kind of being poked at by the feelings that you have about this person, and not maybe feeling a bit restless, even if they're pretty feelings. I think in general, the way that the harmonies worked with those sort of like those soul R&B-ish kind of seventh modulations down chromatically there. The complexity, though, is being exemplified by various elements in the mix there. I thought the keys did incredible work here. The organ with a lovely sort of vibrato and oscillation on that. Yeah, I was just checking a few things. So I think that the guitar was relatively minimalist in certain respects. The arpeggiates the existing chord progressions quite well and offers a nice phrase, so like pretty mid-range kind of contrast to some of the bass elements, which were quite sort of like balanced in that low end. I think the drums with the triplet groove there, that sort of slow dances thing, kind of very similar to the Jackie Chung song that we listened to earlier. They're all trying to slow dance, and the keys as well, different in texture and tone to the organs, but still trying to sort of meet themselves amongst the mix. I mean, it was a really interesting sort of assortment of different instruments that did mesh and meld together very neatly. Thematically, I think that thematically it was kind of gentle, almost like we're trying to accept the fact that we might not be with that person. But when we're doing our best to just kind of come to terms with that, but ultimately just nonetheless, it's a beautiful song with sophistication in its harmonies, appropriate percussion and rhythms associated, and the vocals interlacing with a mono or in groups on top really effortlessly. The studio production in general is like commercial grade there. I'm still not convinced about that sort of solo part, as Jacob I think mentioned. But I still think nonetheless it's a great sounding track, and I enjoy my time listening through it, and it's very personable and approachable. No real harsh edges or any issues with the filtering or EQing there. Things were split nicely amongst the headphones, and it was nice and low without pumping with dynamic range. So thank you to LC for that. Apparently, Japanese reality show could be really creative. Yes, there was one that I remember, and it was absolutely wild. I've seen some pretty crazy Japanese reality shows. They do look fun for the most part, though. It's the best reality show according to LC, but got cancelled because one of the contestants ended her own life due to online bullying. That's terrible. I'm really sorry to hear that. That sucks. I think anyone who contributed to that should be ashamed of themselves. It's disgusting when people bully people online. It's gutless. But yeah, I'm nonetheless thankful to have heard that track. It was good to hear 1989, and I hope that he finds someone else who he can appreciate, and they appreciate each other equally. We've got the next track from Jacob Good. So Jacob is sending through for us a track from Circus Survive. Hey, I know Circus Survive. I know them. It'll be cool to listen to some Circus Survive, man. That'd be dope. Been a while, though. Been a while since I've listened to Circus Survive. Oh, well, 2018. That'll be good, man. That's a scary... Look at that artwork, though. That's scary. That's scary artwork, though. But this is from Jacob. Let's get into it, yeah? So this is Get Out by Circus Survive. His voice is stellar. Oh, that fry though, man. That fry though. Yeah, good job. Oh, that sound design there, that asymmetry there. I've yet to translate any meaning. I've yet to translate any meaning besides it's not worth it to try. I mean, those lines hit hard, man. The flickering and air candy in the background, man. Several solo sections. We're being spoilt today, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful. Really enjoyed this track. Really well done. Thank you to Jacob for this. So that was Get Out. So what do we think this track is about? I think it's someone kind of wallowing in their own head, you know, just trying to sort of like figure out how to get away from the difficulties they're having inside themselves, and screaming get out almost like to themselves, no matter how much they're struggling with it, that they need to escape regardless. I think that's it. I mean, like there are just some incredible lines in there. Um, just I can't wait to understand the reason. I've yet to translate any meaning besides not worth it to try. Those just hit hard. Maybe it's just because I can kind of relate to it, but I feel like a lot of people will probably be able to relate to this on a level too, man. It's hard stuff to listen to. It's not easy stuff to listen to, but nonetheless incredibly well written. It seems authentic, especially with the vocal fry. Like we're comfortable on the mic, a just voice. Everything's very well done there, but it's just the expression and just the intensity and the visceral nature of the way that we are communicating. It's exemplary. It's so real and it's so powerful, and it does really compete quite well, both in terms of like attention, but also just in terms of texture and tone with a lot of the distorted guitars, the drums and bass parts there. It's heavy. It's brutal there. I mean, I think at 3 minutes 04, it's a track that's nice and short and does not overstay its welcome. There are several different solo sections, and amongst the different verse and chorus parts, it's very well written with no filler. And there are lots of different guitar ideas with various arpeggios and power chordal elements there, and then the lead solos near the end, and the harmonized kind of like dual guitars like in the start of the final third. And then, of course, you have the bass there being sort of very well behaved, and the low end kind of being very supportive of all the upper stages there. The drums with lots of different sort of flams and grooves and sort of renewal passages sitting between quarters, eighths, and sixteenths on the main lines with the cymbals, kicks, and snares, allowing a lot of space there as well for certain elements and allowing things to kind of float. It's just incredibly expressive. Like that there, the drums were just not there at all. They were just kind of like away from it. They allowed things to hang. The vocals were the focal point at that point. And just there's these other little bits. You can hear like the kind of flickering and little bits of sound design there as well, which I think are either feedback or post-production, but either way, it's stellar. Just that incredible sense of tension, the asymmetry, the way things are not balanced. It's just wonderful for tension and sort of trying to invoke a sense of feeling like the person feels. And you combine it with a theme that is really quite compelling there. Like there's a lot of beauty in it with some of those parts, but also we go down into that minor key and we commit to it. It's fragrant. It's not sort of super duper doom and gloom. I don't think it's trying to sort of represent a sense of sadness or anger. It's more just frustration and trying to find some sort of hope even when we're struggling to find a reason to continue. I think that that's what it's trying to communicate with its choice of chords, melodies, and harmonies. And again, most of the intensity is again from the vocal performance, though the guitar and drums do carry it quite a bit with some of the oomph later on. There's lots of cool ideas that transfer effortlessly between one another, and the studio production is commercial grade as well. So ultimately, it is absolutely legendary at the end. Fantastic, phenomenal effort. Really stoked with it. Yes, exactly. I completely agree, Jacob. I completely agree with that. I think that Circa Survive have done incredibly well to continue this long, as I remember listening to them in the early 2010s, if not 2000s, and they smashed it, man. I'm just glad the guy still has his voice. I'm just glad that he still has his voice. Because, you know, with that kind of stuff, if you don't have solid technique, you can lose it. So I'm glad that they're still going strong. And thank you for recommending this track from Circa Survive, titled Get Out. What do we have next? We have one from Paul7931. Let's go, man. Paul7931. What does Paul7931 have for us today? Paul7931 has... we have this. Now, I'm not sure what this means in English, but we are going to find out. We're going to translate that in DeepL and hopefully be able to go from there, but we will find the link as well. Where is it? On Spotify. Yeah, there we go. Good. And who is this? This is Xu Jun. Xu Jun, little boy in the city. Yay! Let's do it, Paul. Let's go, man. Let's do it. Great use of just the use of the school children, everything in the background. It's just great use of Foley. Great use of space.
3年弄我骑车，我俩在这肯定不在，我一个一个往上打。
Key change? Key change. Beautiful transition there, the guitars, man.
上夜班，什么努力，现在好多了，那自己好好那自己过了。
How would you describe this, like genre-wise? So I suppose it's kind of like the time ticking or something like that, right in the background. So that was Zhu Jun with their track Little Boy in the City. So I'm wondering, given the fact that we had the classroom credits, or the sounds of the classroom, whether we're talking about being a kid in a city and our experiences with that. I'm wondering if the spoken parts are people talking about like stuff at the schools or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not as familiar with the language, both with the actual sung parts or the sampled parts or the extra bits. I think, regardless, I thought that it was a really pretty song, and I thought that we sung really neatly. The song is about memories of childhood. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. I mean, like, this song, I think it's practically through composed, although there could be like elements we transfer back to. It's just a piece where it seems to sort of evolve and develop throughout. At 4 minutes 52, I feel like it does make the most of its real estate. It doesn't get to a point where it's super well-woven or intense at any stage, really. It's quite a chill listen. So if you're looking for something a little bit more kind of in your face and aggressive, this probably isn't it. But I still think that actually provides a better sort of experience, arguably, because it is just so relaxed and kind of like introspective, and sort of like you just get the feeling they're really sort of thinking stuff over with the tones of a lot of the various instruments. When you just have the drums to begin with, the acoustic drums there with a really kind of punchy tone with the kit, and it does expand throughout, but you have just enough at the beginning to be able to sort of absorb the vocals fully, get a feel for the vibrato and oscillation of those different organ parts that come in a bit later on. And then the Foley is there to kind of help you out. And there's also the ticking of time, almost like we're going back through time, as Paul said, looking through our childhood. And there's like this kind of backwards and forwards, this sort of like rolling kind of reverb or delay there. And it's so kind of soothing, and it colors the frequency spectrum stereo field really neatly, as well as the mid-range of the frequency spectrum. It's just a full sound that we didn't necessarily have before. And we have like occasional, not just picked parts or sequence parts, but you also have arpeggios that move up and down, sort of infer further development, maybe, as we understand the past a little bit better than we did after first thinking about it. And of course we had like the solo section there as well, which is nicely developed, and it's sort of like very kind of, it's kind of almost dancing across the feelings and thoughts of stuff we had experienced in the past. And I like the fact that we didn't kind of try to put everything into 2 minutes. I feel like a song like this needed time to grow and sort of spread its wings a little bit. And then I think we do have a key change if not later on. But it's like an extended part there. We really do tell the story, and then we simply allow the instruments to spare the rest of it. And I feel like in terms of real estate, that's pretty clever. And in regards to the 16th note groove and some of the hi-hat patterns across the 3/4, 6/8, I suppose. 16ths over 6/8. We had a lot of stuff in triplets of 6/8s today, haven't we? It's cool. I don't mind that at all. But it's just worth noting, yeah. So I think instrumentally, it's compelling. We have a lot of warmth and care through the major and minor sort of chords there. Their extensions, the sevenths showing as well. We have occasional chromatics, but not many of them. It's meant to be sort of more accessible, kind of sweet track. The drums are gentle, so is the bass, so are the organ, so is everything else. There's plenty of time to appreciate the surrounding bits of Foley and other ambience there. It really is kind of like a trip through time, and it's really pleasant to listen to, as I've said before, just not just because of the vocal performance, which shows proper vocal technique, very comfortable in head and chest voice, and effortless just in regards to how they communicate with the audience. But it's just everything else that goes alongside that, and just the studio production as well is also commercial grade. So, like the leveling, the filtering, the quality of the vocal recordings, the dynamic ranges there as well. We just completely stop at some parts, and we allow ourselves to go into the next part. Those pauses are powerful. They kind of go, oh, wait, what are we? Oh, we're going continuing. It's like just kind of pulling things out of the ether to tell a bit more of the story before we pan out. Yeah. Paul, thank you very much for your request. I genuinely enjoyed listening through this track from an act named Zhu Jun. If I'm not mistaken, apologies, I am mispronouncing that. Zhu Jun. It's just getting the hang of the different consonants and how they roll together. But we're getting there. That was a cool song. And then we have one more today. We have one more track from David. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what it must be like for people who have become successful musicians to kind of go through all this time. I suppose kind of looking through all these different feelings and thoughts and adventures they've had, how they kind of like bring them together. Wonder how people view themselves when they were younger versus when they were older in those situations, you know. Either way, it's cool. So this is the track here. So there's one more in the queue. That's cool. And then, yeah, one more song. There we are. And from David. So this is Meteor Thief off of the Crumbling album, titled These Chains. Let's do it. It's Korean. What are we doing? Are we messing with the rate of the delay? Just the sound design is absolutely tremendous. Just like listening to the clarity of different notes, the way they sort of like present themselves. It's very professional in regards to the studio side of things. Coincidentally, David says this has similarities to the previous song. Wouldn't surprise me if there was some intentional distortion there, eh? It is a lot to take in, though. I mean, there's almost a lo-fi-ish kind of tone to a lot of this. Man, how do they design this? It's wild to think that someone made this. Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, I'm not really sure how to approach this one. This is such a complicated one. I've seen this called Folktronica, I guess, because of the acoustic guitars and electronics. Folktronica, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Like, it's almost kind of like a given that would probably go for something like this at this point because of all the different crossover kind of like combinations of different genres that might not even necessarily traditionally have worked with each other. We just know how to get there now. We're just trying different established things, putting them together and trying to kind of shove them till they make sense. And they work a lot of the time, like in this situation. They don't always work, in my opinion. But I feel like this is good. This is a good one. So what do I think that these chains is about? I'm not sure. It's a very kind of like trippy, almost psychedelic, electronic kind of folksy thing, as David was talking about there, with interesting lo-fi sort of textures and timbres within there that sort of suggest that this is almost kind of like a dreamscape. We're looking back in nostalgia of how things used to be, and almost like it's kind of rose-tinted spectacles if we're taking some mushrooms beforehand. If we go back to, I think that we look at just the way that it's sung, though, is so surreal. It's so surreal with the way that it communicates and expresses itself there. It's not trying to necessarily be the main sort of vocal point the entirety of the time. Often it's trying to sort of be a part of the ether and sort of sit there and kind of like melt into itself. Like, don't get me wrong, like, clearly they're singing and they have great technique. But like, there's also the kind of the kind of like the plucking on the guitar parts, either the nylon, I think it would be the nylon, is just tremendous. It's just so adept and articulate. without any of the synthetic kind of like electronic elements, I feel like this would be just a really super chilled out, relaxed, friendly vibe of a song to enjoy ourselves with. Just when we add everything else, though, again, I still like it, but it gets very, very, very kind of wild. And I think that also just the vocal modulation, they're having the sort of 808s come in to kind of add a bit of a boost there. The fact that things are sort of like effects filtered and kind of mutated and kind of mutated into something very sort of different. Almost, again, it sounds like a dreamscape to me. Like we're looking back at how things used to be and just maybe things that were actually different, or maybe we're turning them into something else. And like there's these different, like lots of panning decisions there. We have like dun 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 with the way that we sort of like pan things and delay things or like kind of skew things. It's just very back and forwards, and it sort of makes the music seem like it's really surrounding you in the headphones and really sort of like overwhelming you. But then, of course, we come to these kind of flicky, kind of like harp parts here where they're very bright and sort of like cheery, and it's also so relaxing with the use of extension power chords, but extended chords, but it's also the just the fluffiness of it with the pads. But then there's also like a kind of a weird sort of combination of kind of more kind of pointed bits because there needs to be contrast, but it's such a thick sounding track because it's trying to do all these different things at once. So there's like elements of like low hip hop and lo-fi hip hop and rap and like music like that. Here, there's folk here. I can definitely hear the synthetic electronic elements as well. There's a lot of different colors and that we're trying to sort of expand upon here. And I think overall, it's handled well. But just the way we have those kind of glitchy, kind of distorted textures going backwards and forwards like that in a way is very manic. Is very sort of like, oh, wait, this is a chapter. Oh, this kind of sounds dangerous. Oh, we're getting relief here. It's a weirdly sort of surreal, calm, yet kind of tense experience with this one. Almost like you don't necessarily know where you're going to be going at the end. Like the chains are weighing you down, but you're dreaming of freedom. I think that's kind of the way that I'd look at it. And we like switch up the tempo there and we get faster there. And just there's just a lot to absorb within this. I feel like you could listen to this track multiple times through and pick up different nuances each time. That's the power of a well-written track, which has all these different sort of main layers and sub layers, instrumentally as well as production-wise, is that you have that diversity in there and that replay value. And it's not something I've always appreciated in the past, but as I get older, I just think a lot of the best music is often stuff that's a bit deeper than you might initially suspect on the first time. And you go, oh, I really do dig that. You know what I mean? So I think that's great. That's awesome, man. I don't know if I'm necessarily totally comfortable with the concept of stuff being folk electronic and trying to sort of like put them together. It still seems quite a lot for me, and maybe I would understand the story better if it was in English, but of course it's in Korean. I don't understand Korean, and that's fine. I'm wondering if that's the kind of missing context I need to sort of feel it out. But I do get the impression because some of the ways that we switch to keep that major. We kind of use modulate or we use parallels to go up there. There's a bit of sadness or darkness occasionally, but nothing too much. It's simply a case where we play these instruments well. There's a fantastic chemistry between the elements there. Thematically, I think that those different ideas almost add a sort of a dreamy kind of haze to it that's very sort of approachable. I think one of the strengths of this track is simply the way it has been sort of recorded, mixed, mastered, the way that the filtering and EQing of various parts have been done, the way that we add all these different kind of twists and turns and sort of like panning decisions in there, and the double tracking, and the way that we make it more of a kind of an experience, just a consistent kind of like mist that we're in, hearing these different thoughts and perspectives as opposed to deliberately sort of like we're not. I feel like the right equilibrium is found between the kind of almost sort of too trippy stuff and the more calm, sort of chilled aesthetic. So ultimately, so from a songwriting perspective, from a production perspective, I feel like this song is really well done, these chains. It's a very unique act. I'm glad that they're getting attention. And I thank David for spinning this through. Hopefully my words are making sense as words. I'm just going to check the queue now. Yes. So I'm actually going to close the queue now because I feel like I'm going to go take a nap. So the queue is closed. However, I want to thank everyone watching for coming along to this live stream, and I appreciate your time, especially on a Saturday. I know it's been a while since we did this. I'll get rid of that. I know it's been a while. Is that saying conclusion? It is. I know it's been a while since we did these, but I enjoyed listening to your tracks today. I listened to songs from Ken Cheung, Jacob Good, Dinuhe, Elsie, Paul, and David. And yeah, I don't know what your favorite song for today is. I would say my favorite song. It's tricky. I did like the 1989 song, but I also like Circa Survive. So I thought both of those were really good, but the rest were great as well. Look, thank you for watching this live stream of these, the number 7 of the $6 fan request live streams, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic weekend. And just, yeah, we may be back next week. I don't know. But I just think it would be far easier for me personally to do 1 live stream a week as opposed to 3. Just a little stuff going on, but I don't want to make any promises. Just if you see me live next weekend, feel free to come along, or if you don't, that's fine. Either way, stay cool, shredders, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you in the next whatever. Spiderhands out. 3, 2, 1.